Hey, this is August 6th, 2015, Edible Acres 2. This is an update on our chicken compost system, our wannabe micro Vermont composting system, which was a big inspiration for us to even try this in the first place. Our ladies are getting bigger. It turns out I think we might have a dude or two. I guess the overarching thing to share is we got these chickens mid-May. It is now early August, so what, they're 2.5 months old, I think? They're raging it. They're having such a good time with life. They're all, we haven't lost a chicken, we haven't come close, we haven't had any that looked sickly and then came out of it. Basically across the board, all of these hens have just been growing by leaps and bounds, tons of energy, doing their thing. Might have a rooster or two. Now that they're getting older, there's one or two that sound like their voices are cracking in there. Let's see if we can find where he went. Well, you'll see him around somewhere. There he is, over there. That far end. That bigger one. We'll see. So, just some things to share. Yeah, you can see him pecking away. The compost pile has grown and grown. I've only harvested about 2 wheelbarrow loads out of here, so I'm starting to rake away stuff that looks a little bit more like finished compost and setting it aside. You can see some of these ladies after their breakfast snack, they sit on one of the rings. This is filled with active compost, so it's about 150 in there. And so after they eat some food from the open access pile, they take a nap on a steam radiant floor. It sounds like a spa, but really it's a pile of rotting crap. But not crap literally, we're doing restaurant food scraps in here, just in case you're wondering. And what these ladies are working on really intensely, kind of hitting a new stride here that we're really excited about. So the workflow is that I've taken the compost that was in here and with a hay fork made a trough through the middle that was ready to receive about 300 gallons more material, 200 gallons more material. Shush, I'm videoing. One pickup from the restaurant. Oop, there's some pecking order stuff getting ready to happen, some drama. That's Frankie Five Toe over there. We're not sure if that's a guy or a lady, but we call it Frankie Five. He's got 5 toes on either foot. Anyway, take the trough and then I dump bucket after bucket of raw food scraps in there. Now what we're trying to do is cover the food scraps with charcoal, and of course you can watch other videos that I've made or other folks about how to make biochar, but this is just uninoculated charcoal out of my cone pit method. They're all over here, and so basically as I add the food scraps I'm layering charcoal on top, and that's helping to absorb and bulk, provide oxygen, pore space, and adsorption for smell, for potential methane, nitrous oxide, or stuff that could happen if we just let these piles be like massive, hot, anaerobic piles. We found that the chickens really didn't like digging into that, and makes sense. So with enough, you see there's tons of wood chips here as well. So we layer that up, put the wood chips on top, and then on top of the wood chips I'm throwing grain. My friend runs an organic mill, farmer ground flour, pretty amazing spot, and so we're taking now his cleanings where he cleans the grain as it comes into the system. So there's a really nice image. It's charcoal that's hungry and thirsty, and then a pile of wheat and buckwheat and weed seeds and grass seeds, and they're steaming away. The chickens can free choice on those as they kick them into the compost. There's our gentleman. He's getting his cameo. Hey, how's it going, bub? So odd. Really cool creatures. Anyway, they're eating soaked grain, or they're eating, I guess, hard grain, then soaked grain, then little sprouts, and then eventually, if there's enough seed on here, it'll start sprouting and getting to be a little grass, and that'll give them some green forage. You can see up on this pile is where we throw them bolted radishes, the comfrey stalks, so every other day we bring them a huge pile of comfrey and let them chew on that as much as they want. But what's awesome here Let's see if you can see it now. They're starting to take a break. I should have filmed this earlier on. But the heat deep in the pile is so intense that any of the fly larvae that are in there eating the food migrate up into the wood chips. And so the chickens have an incredibly easy time scratching. So it's basically wood chips, charcoal, sprouted grain, and then fly larvae, all within, you know, a light scratch they're eating. So here's one working away. I don't know if the camera will show it, but basically they kick for a moment or two. They're camera shy. I didn't realize they would do that. So it's eating some charcoal, then it's going to poop the charcoal out. I'm seeing fly larvae come out. So basically they come out, they've got their automatic door opener early in the morning. They come blasting out, and every kick reveals a couple writhing worms or grain or charcoal or food scraps. And the whole thing, I think aesthetically, just looks like a big, I mean, it just depends on your opinion on things, but it doesn't look like a mountain of nasty food stuff. So we're working on it, but it seems to be working really well and incredibly promising. Hey, you're kicking apart my compost. That's alright, I'll rake it back up. Yeah, you can see they're taking they really like the heat of this one. So I put a bunch of hay on top so it's not too nasty for them. And they just take a little nap and then they get back to work. It's a rough life. These are underneath. This is their little emergency hawk protector zone. They tend to like to be here early in the morning. Yeah. One last thing. Oh boy, they're working on the road around here. It's getting nice and loud. We're just starting on it now, but this is a big update from last time. Just past the electro-netting, we're building. A friend of mine came by and he's been hanging for a week, and we're working like crazy on this. Raised beds out of black locust that we're filling with the compost from the restaurant, from here, etc. Distinct difference. This is 2 wheelbarrow loads from the chicken yard. That stuff is just jet black. It's so beautiful. So we're going to seed that out for some fall crops, with the idea that since the chickens helped basically make all of this compost, half of what we grow in here as we harvest will just get lobbed over the electro netting, and the chickens will have access to like fancy heads of lettuce and all sorts of stuff, because they are the engine of this fertility system, so they deserve the highest quality stuff, not just pure fly larvae and sprouted organic grains, but let's get even fancier. So we got it all seeded out in some of these bands. It's just gonna be mainly from saved seed. This one's set to parsley and various lettuces, and then we got beans and New Zealand spinach, basically like fast growing plants. We're early August, so we still have probably 70 days before it frosts, so we're still in the growing season. So I'll do an update when these really pump. But yeah, it's basically activated charcoal and 100% organic matter in each of these raised beds, and they cost nothing to build. And there's no metal, and there's no complex joinery or cutting. It's just sharpened stakes hammered in 2 spots, and then a board, and then filled with compost, and the compost holds the boards. And that's all on top of sheet mulched stuff. So we'll make another video of those. But we're going to keep that pattern going as the chickens produce more and more material. We'll keep on going across the yard, and it'll feed them more and more stuff. So that's our early August update on the chicken compost operation. They're happy, we're happy. Hope you're happy seeing it and getting some ideas of a scale that would work for you. Thanks for watching.